gonna sit. Well, thank you all for coming tonight. It means a lot to me personally, living in this community, to see this room full. It's awesome. Most of you may probably know, my name is DARYL Bertrand. I am the former owner of Ozark Mountain Playgrounds, a residential and commercial playground company with over 650 successful installations in the region. And we had yearly sales between 200 and 400,000 a year here in Ozark. I'm going to tell you firsthand how cannabis saved my life and how prohibition ruined it. Around 2003, I was diagnosed with a degenerative disc disease, spondylolisthesis of the spine, and spinal stenosis. I had a 13-millimeter gap in my spine, and it would move around. Upon my diagnosis, as you can imagine, the doctors prescribed me all sorts of muscle relaxers and painkillers of all sizes and colors, pretty much whatever I wanted. To deal with the pain, within 18 months, my liver failed multiple times. It nearly killed me, both with hospital stays of more than 5 days at a time. After the second liver failure, the doctors attributed it to the medicine I was being prescribed. At that time, I had to do a lot of soul searching, trying to figure out what I was going to do. Is there anything I can do? I grew up out west. I have two brothers who are epileptic and live out west. They have both lived seizure-free since they have been on medical marijuana. So I headed out west and took a little vacation out there, did some research, did some studying, and I came back with specific seed strains of cannabis to treat my pain. I grew my own medicine for many years, about 5. And along with chiropractic care, I was able to work, grow a successful business, and be a productive member of society here in Ozark. In July of 2008, a lot of that started to crumble. I had a bad slip and fall accident and my back broke. My L4 literally crushed and disintegrated my L5. It was sitting on my S1, which is your tailbone, and it could be seen protruding out my lower back. You can pretty much say at that point my consumption of cannabis increased greatly from what it was previously. And I want to make it clear, I didn't hide my cannabis use from my doctors. I don't suggest that anyone ever does. If your doctor is against it, go find another doctor. The doctors were concerned with how I was consuming it due to the surgical procedures I was about to undertake. They were very much relieved and happy to know that I was vaporizing. In April of 2009, I was finally able to have a spinal fusion surgery to fix my back. It failed within a week, and I had to have emergency surgery, another spinal fusion where they put in 12 screws, 2 rods, and a plate in my back. At some point during my time being a producer of medical marijuana for myself, I took pictures of a grow to show a few family members. I deleted those pictures, but unless you clear your hard drive, they are still there. Subsequently, I had gotten a virus on my PC. I had used PC Outlet here in Ozark for years to do all my computer work. The store sent these photos from my hard drive to the local police drug task force. There were no identifiable markings of any type in these photos to distinguish a location. They could have been taken anywhere. They investigated me for several months following the virus. I never got the evidence to get a warrant until my vaporizer broke and I began rolling joints. I threw out an empty pack of zigzags in my trash. Apparently they had been searching my trash for a while. The judge finally gave them the search warrant and the rest is history. The raid occurred 4 days after my discharge from the hospital on my second emergency spinal fusion. During the raid, it was clearly evident, once they found my garden, that they were only concerned about seizing cash funds from the sale of cannabis. They used extremely abusive language to me and my wife and threats of destroying everything I had if I didn't hand over $30,000 in cash that they were looking for. And I just had to have it, according to them. Since there was only $300 in cash between me and my wife, and after 30 minutes of talking, it became clear to them that it was actually a medical grow, according to them, the first one they had ever seen. Needless to say, they were extremely upset that it wasn't a recreational for-sale grow operation. Since I didn't have the cash they wanted, the local sheriff went to the media on a smear campaign against me and my business. That my business was just a front for a marijuana grow operation and that we didn't sell or install anything. If you came to the front door to Ozark Mountain Playgrounds, you were there to buy marijuana. It was the headline news story on all networks in Springfield for 3 days, in all time slots. When they dropped the distribution charges, do you think they publicly announced it? No. Before the bust, we had a nice average home we rented in a nice neighborhood where my kids could go out and play. I owned my dream truck and had some nice possessions. We tried to keep the business going, but all attempts failed. We changed the name, moved the business, everything failed. We now live in a low-income neighborhood here in Ozark that within the last year, within a few houses of me, or right across the street, has had a stabbing, 2 overdoses, an attempted murder, and a gang fight. Yes, here in Ozark. Needless to say, my kids don't go out and play anymore. Additionally, I was told by several lawyers if I had $25,000 to $30,000, I would walk and I would not be a felon. So the saying goes, if you have the money and do the crime, you won't do the crime. Since my plea deal with my wife, I am now disabled and unable to work. It has taken my wife almost 2 years to find a minimum wage paying job with her college degree through a temp service. This conviction has made us and labeled us a different class of citizen. My choice for using cannabis wasn't something I did for pleasure. It was necessary for me to live a somewhat pain-free, and without it, prescription pain meds would have surely killed me. Additionally, my wife doesn't smoke cannabis and had never even been in my dorm room, but for some reason here in Ozark, they found it necessary to charge her harder than me. It is clear now that the rate was asset forfeiture based, because I am almost positive if I had been selling and they got the money they wanted, I don't think they would have charged my wife. It's all speculation now. Finally, when I signed my plea deal of production of a controlled substance, if I knew then what I know now, I would have never signed my plea deal. I would have gone to trial and used a personal rights defense along with jury nullification. Also, my plea said nothing in it about me losing my rights to free speech. I have lost my right to bear arms because of a plant, and I suffer daily when it is cold from cruel and unusual punishment because I am unable to take the medicine that would make me pain-free. I'm not a criminal, no matter what label the prohibition has put on me. There are thousands more like me here in Missouri, if not more. There are over 100 million in the U.S. that use cannabis. At some point, they have used it for whichever reason they choose. Do you think our government can stop that many people from doing something freely in their own home? In what is supposed to be the land of the free, I would like to see cannabis taxed and regulated. It has never killed anyone. Prohibition and the war on drugs has killed too many, and it needs to stop. It is a war that no one can win. In conclusion, I would like to add that the prohibition of marijuana has been sold to the citizens of the U.S. as a lie. Just look at who and how it became prohibited back in the 30s. Who would want themselves associated with that racist and greedy behavior? I know I don't. And in conclusion, I'm going to add some words here from a friend of mine that I met out at town hall out in West Plains from Terry Furman, because I think it strikes home here to Ozark. It's a very religious community. I never thought that Pat Robinson and I would ever be on the same side of any issue, but somehow he's even come around to agree with marijuana laws need to be reformed. I want to speak in New Testament terms for a minute. Who has the right to judge others with regard to marijuana? Who is able to cast that first stone? Those who don't smoke cigarettes? Who don't drink wine or alcohol in any form? Who don't drink coffee or use caffeine? Who don't take over-the-counter or prescribed medication? Who never overeat and only eat clean food, nothing processed or unnatural? Then maybe they have a right to preach against the use of marijuana. However, I would think they are facing a moral dilemma because we live in a country where those other things are legal. How can we say cannabis should not be? In moderation, it is safe or even safer in most cases than any of those other things I've mentioned. Why should a plant available to cannabis should not be, oh, sorry guys. Why should a plant available to us by God's own plan, for those of us who believe in divine origins, not be used to its best advantage for health and enjoyment? No one has to partake in anything just because it's legal. But why are so many dead set against letting others have the right to do what they deem best? It's because we've been sold the lie that cannabis is bad. It is not the devil's weed. Not only is reforming the system regarding cannabis a good idea, which makes sense, it is the right thing to do. And now it is time to do it. Let's work together to get cannabis legalized in Missouri so that the sick, the suffering, and the dying have access to safe, natural, and effective medicine. Medical cannabis is not about getting high. It's about healing, living, and having a quality of life. It's a hope for many like me who have none. I want to thank SNCR, John Payne, Harry WIEGERT, my wife, all of you, Mr. Mobley, for being here tonight. And finally, unfortunately, this isn't something that is going to come easily. It's going to take a lot of money. If any of you can donate to the cause, one time, 50 cents, $1, or become a recurring donor. You can become a recurring donor. That would be great to see John afterwards. A lot of us want this. A lot of us
Here's $20. You can match it.
talk about it, but if we don't raise some funds to do this,
There's somebody matching this. $20? $20 right there. Here you go. I got a collection bucket. Oh, I'm sorry to speak.
Dude, go ahead. Go
It's
ahead.
in the street.
Go ahead.
Fundraising period.
Go ahead. You can stop off it.
Oh man, we got a big Bible right there. Thank you, sir, so much. Anybody else want to help our patients in Missouri? Help these patients. $20. Thank you, sir.
You guys have
I just found a new director of development. I was going to say, good job, man.
Thank you, sir.
That's all I have for tonight. I look forward to